Just could you just give us an overview of how pre-season's gone so far from your point of view first, please?
Um, yeah, it's been tough. It's only been well, I think we're into week 5 or 6, yeah, now. So it's something a little bit different for me. Like it's been a good experience actually for me and a good learning. I've had to get a team up and going and get them ready for a game 6 weeks in, where usually, I've got 6, 7 weeks before Christmas and then five to 6 weeks after Christmas before we're playing a game. So I've liked that fact, and this I've learned a bit about that. But yeah, the staff have done a good job in terms of keeping the players healthy while pushing them to the limits without breaking too many. A couple of here and there, but nothing long term. And then we got some blokes returning from rehab. We're on track, so fingers crossed we get through the trial matches, and we want to start with a healthy squad come round one.
Obviously, pre-season's a time for players to impress. Is there anyone who's stood out in particular for you?
Very hard to try and isolate one or two in particular. But there's guys that have done different things or been good at different things throughout the course of the 5 weeks. I think James Bentley's trained really well for us actually. Like I've challenged him around his discipline and so a few things at in our review at the back end of the year, and he's worked really hard on those. And I thought, like he's been very consistent every session. He's worked hard. Cameron Smith's doing a lot of good things. He's looking a lot sharper onto the football. Our forwards uh, have done a lot of work physically to put themselves in a position where they're nice and run fit, but also they've done a fair bit of work with Langers off the ground and in the contact room. So they've done quite a bit around the actual getting up and down off the ground and the wrestling, the tackle.
Obviously, playing on Boxing Day is a brand new experience for you. What are your broader thoughts about playing a game the day after Christmas Day?
Well, initially I thought it was a bit odd, but like I'm excited about it now. It's a tradition that's happened here for a long time, and like I said, I feel like I've gained some learnings out of it as well with having to prepare a team, in a 5 or 6 week window pre-season, to get them ready to play. And we're actually looking forward to seeing where we're at. And most guys will only get 40 to 50 minutes, their first hit out, but it'll be you can do all the training you like until you get out there. You don't actually know where you're at. So at least we get a good early look of where we're at, and we've got a couple of weeks after that to go about trying to whether maintain some good areas and improve some areas that needed fixing. Into that second trial.
In terms of the squad, then, who it's probably easier to say who's not available at this stage. Who won't you
Uh,
be calling on?
yeah, Lockie and a couple of the young blokes are still recovering from like a hamstring. Yeah, so it's mainly Lockie in terms of the regular players from last year, won't be available. And probably the other one who's not quite ready yet is Morgan Gannon. He was on track, we was training reasonably well, getting himself ready, and he's just got his Achilles has just flared up a little bit, so we'll just take precautionary there and rest him. He hasn't played for a while.
So that would suggest that all five of your new signings are going to play on Boxing Day. How excited are you to see those guys in action?
Yeah, it'll be, I think they're excited. It'll be good for them to get a feel of the competition here, playing in different weather and temperature. So like it's going to be a big learning for those guys, and they're looking forward to having that experience, in a game where it's important, but it's not worth 2 points, so that they get a good feel of this style of footy, and the environment that they're going to have to play in.
And it's not just the result that the players are playing for. We're now it's emerged that your squad numbers won't be revealed until after, I think it's New Year's Day or something like that. So there's an incentive in terms of the squad numbers. Just explain what was you thinking behind that?
Oh, look, we've got a fair idea of the squad numbers at present, but just want every player to feel like they've got the opportunity to earn, one of those 1 to 13 or 1 to 17 jerseys. And I just want them to also understand the importance of every game matters. and not taking anything for granted.
But if you're not completely settled on your squad numbers, is there any position in particular that's giving you a bit of food for thought?
No, look, there's a lot of guys. Competition is very healthy in the forward pack. So, I've got a fair idea of what it should look like. But that's off the back of training. We need to get out there and play. But whatever jersey number that each player gets given, like when we do the announcement, doesn't mean it's locked and loaded either. So, but if you try and get it as close as I can to what we want it to look like, that'll be good.
Just what's it like for you, Brad, being in a different country for Christmas?
Yeah, well, someone just reminded me today that it's only 7 days of Christmas, so it's been good because we've been busy training. My wife and daughter are over here now, and they've been here for a couple of weeks. We're just going to have a quiet couple of hours somewhere for lunch on Christmas Day, and then just getting ready for the next day. Like that's something different, getting ready for a game. So yeah, it would just be a quiet day, but my daughter's hoping for a white Christmas. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so look, it's going to be tough being away from the rest of my family, but it's what it is, and this is the situation.
We're all hoping for a white Christmas. We've not had one for a long time, Brad. So you never know. You never know these days. What would you normally be doing back here? How would it differ from what you'd be doing normally back home in Australia without a game on Boxing Day?
Obviously, I don't mind doing a bit of cooking, so a bit of traditional roast pork and Christmas lunch, but now because all the kids are a bit older and growing up, they're boyfriends, girlfriends, they come and go, so we try and just to get them together for a couple of hours at some stage, whether it be breakfast or a lunch, and then me and my wife are happy to sit around and do a lot of nothing. Like to have a couple of quiet beers, and but yeah, I'm going to be disappointed that I don't get to spend it with all my family, but this is where I'm at and what we need to do.
And what's your message to the players about how they conduct themselves on Christmas Day?
We haven't spoke about it yet, but these guys probably have more experience around this than I do, so they'll know that it's important that they enjoy Christmas Day and relax. We got training the day before, but also not to overeat, and the game the next day is still something that they need to be preparing for.
Just lastly, do you have anything on your Christmas list, or are you a bit of a horror to try and buy for?
Look, as long as the kids and Michelle get sorted, I'm not fussed, mate. Yeah, I don't know, have anything special on my Christmas list except we get through Boxing Day with a clean bill of health. That'll be all I want for Christmas, is make sure all the boys get through healthy.
Just as a coach, how different is it doing a pre-season when the conditions are cold and wet? Because normally pre-season in Australia, the main thing you have to contend with is the heat, isn't it? Whereas here it's almost like the complete opposite.
Yeah, we are very fortunate here that we've got such a good stadium, and the grounds staff, led by Ryan, have done a really good job of allowing us to be able to train. We haven't missed a session. We haven't missed any field sessions because of the weather. We had a couple of days where it snowed, and they managed to get the pitch ready for us. So been very fortunate that way, that we've been able to do a lot of opposed session. I like to put the boys under a bit of pressure against each other. That's and a lot of 13 on 13 and contact and full contact sessions. So that's been really handy for us. Yeah, it's different in the cold weather, but like I watched Brody Crofty, he runs around in just a jersey, so I don't know how he's not freezing training, but they get themselves up for it. And Micah actually said to me the other day, because I said he's looking pretty good with he's not a noted person for his fitness, but he's looking okay. And he said to me it was easier for him to run in the cold weather, so that's handy.
When you were at Para, did you have almost like a set pre-season that you did every year, or did it alter? Have you had to alter that because of the conditions in Leeds this year, or anything? Or do you sort of draw one up every year?
Not haven't had to alter anything because of conditions, but I've got a fair idea of like a blocking it, like fortnightly, and like some weeks you need to work harder than others, and you might have to have a down week. You get the luxury of being able to do that, I suppose. I've had the luxury of being able to do that in the NRL because we've had such a long time and long period, but it's just been every week the level's just been going up another level and up another level, and this week we went up another level again, and finished off today with a fair session, and we'll have a reasonable session on Friday again, and then we'll pull back for the weekend and just do a couple of moderate sessions going into the game. But like I said, I've had to just structure it a little bit different to make sure that we've got a team that actually can go out there and is ready to play. So you're doing a lot more groundwork earlier in the piece than you would normally. We had to get a lot of running miles into their legs early, and we're probably touching the footy a lot more, and with more opposed sessions than you would earlier in the piece too.
Does that almost like condensed pre-season make it harder for you as a coach, or is it just a different challenge for you?
Yeah, it's just a different challenge, and it makes me really narrow my focus to what's important and what helps us try and be in a position to win games early, and be really specific and deliberate about our approach, but also get the detail right, and making sure it's simple enough, where there's no confusion about what we want to stand for and look like. So that's been really handy for me and helpful, I think.
Did you get a guide off the coaching staff that were there last year about what pre-season last year was like, so you could know what the players did and what needed to be altered and things like that?
Not really. They've given me little bits and pieces, but I'm not really concerned about what's happened, anywhere in anyone's preseason. I just knew what I needed to do with this group and where they wanted to be. And there's no substitute for hard work, and every team would be doing the same. Like, you can't fluff around it and trick your way around it. You just got to work hard.
And just lastly for me, how many times have the English lads told you it's not even cold yet?
Yeah, I'll get told that quite a bit, but I'm actually, the weather hasn't been an issue for me. I enjoyed the week of the couple of sessions that we had in the snow, because that was different for me, and but yeah, it's been okay.
Just on Morgan, it's just a precaution with the Achilles, is it?
Yeah, it's just flared up a little bit, and sometimes they can warm up and you can run them out, but he's just wasn't warming up enough, so we just decided to pull him off legs for a week or two, and he's back and he ran okay today, but it's just probably too short a turnaround now between now and the game to risk putting him out there, so we'll just get a little bit longer of training before he gets to actually get on the field. And disappointing for him, because he's probably desperate to get out there and play.
Is he fully recovered now from the
Yep.
from the concussion?
Yep, he was going really good, mate, with his training. His contact was really good, and there was no signs of him being cautious or overprotective of himself. He was getting in there, putting his head in there, and he was being nice and physical, because we've had a pretty physical pre-season in the contact room.
Do you like what you've seen of him in training?
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, he's got a good level of skill, knows his way around the field well. Obviously, he got thrown into the Super League in different circumstances than most. But the pre-season that he's done now will help him as well.
Tom Holroyd obviously was stood down for probably the second half of last season. I know he's been training. Has he got a chance of Boxing Day?
Yep. Like I said, we've got lots of forwards, so I don't need to overplay anyone. It's just a matter of getting them all out there, have a few runs, get some tackles under their belt, get a bit tired, and then have to get their backsides up and down off the ground a little bit. That's all we're sort of looking for the game, and he'll get like all the forwards will get even share of game time, just so they all can be ready to go. When it gets a bit closer to round one.
Is Jake Connor likely to start at fullback with Lockie not being available?
No. Look, he's going to spend a bit of time in the centres, and he's going to spend a bit of time in the halves.
Cool. How's he looking in training?
He's got better each week. With his, obviously the thing around Jake was just his training and his conditioning and getting his body right, and he's getting better and better each week. And he said to me the other day that he feels the fittest and the best he's been for a while. And the good thing about it, he was probably a fair way off the pack when we first started, but he's bridged that gap closer and closer, and he's training well. Does a lot of good things with the ball too. A lot of good things.
Do you know who your goal kicker is going to be?
Whoever scores. Yeah. Look, Coffey's done a bit. We've got Lockie Miller. Jake kind of kicks the ball good. Cindy. So look, there's a few options there. They've all been practicing. Probably won't know that closer to round one.
Yeah, there wasn't much room for manoeuvre when you came in. Are you happy with the squad the club have put together for next season?
Yep. Look, probably a couple more extra numbers would be nice. But the Bleasy's done a really good job with our squad. The changes that we've been able to make, and we've probably had a targeted approach about trying to just bring in quality rather than just trying to bring in too many in quantity. So I feel like the guys, it's been a pointed and targeted approach, and I think they make our squad stronger.
And do you think you've got enough young quality to fill those gaps in the squad?
Yeah, but it's good for the young guys because they got, when you're putting them out there now, hopefully you're putting them around some quality, and it's easier for them to learn in the systems if they're in some playing a good level of quality.
Yeah. Do you feel standards have lifted during pre-season? Are players still bringing the notebooks to meetings and stuff like that?
Yeah, and that's the easy thing. It's easy for them to get comfortable and drop off, but they haven't, and I haven't had to drive that. The players are leading that, in particular Ash and Cameron. And look, we've got a lot of senior players in the team without having a leadership group. Crofty's a good talker, Fralls is good at driving standards. Mikolai, the list. Ryan Hall's come in, and he's showing the boys that a level of professionalism, and why he's able to play still at 36, going on, 36, going to be turning 37. That's some, so he's showing the boys his level of professionalism, and that's why he's still playing at the moment. He's training like a 20-year-old. He's going really well.
Have you seen some good signs from the group then going into this new season?
Yeah, I have. I've seen all the right things at training, but like I reminded him today, it doesn't matter what you do on the training field. They're only going to get judged what they do when they play. We can have some really good weeks, and if you play poorly, we're only going to get judged on how you play, and it's just the nature of it is. And sometimes you can have a bad week of training, but if you can get the job done on the field, well, that's all that really matters. So, yep, we're doing all the signs are positive, and we're doing all the right things, and attitude's good. But we haven't been put under any pressure yet, and we haven't played a game. So once we're under a bit of pressure, we'll know a bit more about how we're travelling.